Welcome to day 7 of 12 of the 12 days of finance. I'm making videos 12 days in a row to share information with you about finance. My name is Robin. I'm a certified financial planner, certified private wealth advisor, wealth manager by trade, and your rich auntie. And today we're talking about the ultimate celebration, retirement, and what you should do and what you should not do and what you should look out for in your first year of retirement. So, what are the things that you or a financial advisor taking a professional look at your finances is well aware of about the first year of retirement? Stay with me. One thing that I do in retirement planning when we're in the final countdown is that we take a second look at your budget. And essentially, I, as a financial advisor, am very interested in how much you are spending. Now, this is a difficult one for people because we don't typically spend in a regular way in our lives. There are things that come up. The refrigerator breaks down. You need to have a tooth capped at the dentist. You need to put new tires on your car. There are things that are irregular and unexpected come up, and that's going to happen in retirement. And you have to be able to just cover that out of your funds that you have. You don't have a job or a paycheck to look forward coming in the next 2 weeks to help you cover that expense. One of the first things I tell people that they should have bare minimum 3 months, more like 6 to 8 months of cash savings to be able to handle the unexpected things when they go into retirement. They should have this built out prior to retirement. You can't really build this in retirement, and you should not be using your IRA or your 401k account. That is not a savings account. That is a retirement account that is fully taxable, and you don't want to have to basically worry about taxes each time you need to take a sum of money out of that account. So after someone retires, typically there's a celebration, and there is a relief of retirement. And I've gone to many retirement celebrations for clients and for colleagues, and it's always a time of great joy. But one of the first things in the post-retirement appointments we look at is the budget. Is what you thought you would spend in retirement accurate? Sometimes we get it spot on. Sometimes it's actually we overcalculate and the person's spending far less money, and then we can redo the calculations. But I would say probably in about 40% of the cases, we undershot what the person is spending in retirement, and that is a problem. Essentially, we have to go back and do the calculations. Sometimes it's fine, it's just a few $100 a month. Sometimes it's going to be a problem. It's a few $1,000 a month, and then the numbers just don't hang together. If I have a client that in their first year, they're consistently overspending their original budget of retirement, we have to have a conversation about things like going back to work, whether it's part-time, whether it's doing contract work. There just isn't enough retirement savings to be able to sustain this level of spending. And if you go back to work in retirement, you want to go back to work in your 50s or 60s. You don't want to find out that you needed to go back to work in your 80s, and you can't. No one's going to hire you in your 80s, and you may not have the stamina to do the work that you want to do. So one of the things that a financial advisor is looking at, and you should be looking at, are you meeting the number that you originally projected in your budget for your monthly spend in retirement? If you were consistently overspending, that may be an opportunity to look at picking up some part-time or some consulting work. If you are consistently underspending, you may need to adjust that number. People rarely get it spot on, but we try to get them as close to the actual number as possible. Next thing that we look at, or piece of advice I would give, do not do full home renovations in the first year after retirement. If you need to do home renovations, it really should be done while you are working, and it should be paid off by retirement. Typically what happens is the person retires, they're spending a lot of time at home. Suddenly they realize, the kitchen is a little bit shabby. Maybe their backyard could use some work. The flooring could be refinished. Maybe they need to replace part of, a guest bathroom. And suddenly they've got $150,000 in home renovations going on all at once, and they need that money from somewhere, usually their IRA or their 401k. Now, if you're independently wealthy or we plan for this, okay, perfectly fine. Sometimes it could be good to do renovations in retirement because you can actually be there to supervise the work as it goes on. But if we really didn't plan for any of this to happen and out of the blue you're putting together a $150,000 home renovation, I have questions. I have questions. Another reason why doing renovations while you are still working makes more sense is that sometimes you can finance the renovation over time, but you do have to be credit worthy. And often part of being credit worthy is having a monthly income. So if you have a paycheck and you can prove that you have discernible income coming into the house, sometimes you can finance these different renovations that need to occur during to your home. Now, when you're working, I know it can be hard and stressful to do renovations, but oftentimes when a person is getting in the wheelhouse of retirement, maybe they're 60 and they have 5 more years left, we kind of go through their home and I say, look, what condition is your home in? We go through the list and we decide, what in what order over the next 5 years need to be renovated. And then we put together a plan of action to make that happen. Also, the same thing with cars. Don't retire today and go out and buy a new car tomorrow. It may make sense to replace a car while you're still working, maybe 3 to 5 years before you retire, so that that car can be paid off by time you retire. Cars can last a lot longer than they did in the past. There's better quality control and better reliability among certain brands in cars. So you could keep a car now 10, 12 years without a second thought. Whereas, 20, 25 years ago, that really wasn't a possibility. So we do take a look at the cars together. And one thing I do ask people when I meet them to go over their retirement or do a review on their accounts is how is their car? How old is their car? Is their car still comfortable? Because that's a big thing. As you're drawing closer to retirement, maybe a Mazda Miata worked for you when you were in your 20s, 30s. Those cars are very, very hard to get in and out of, and that becomes a greater factor as you get older. So if you are looking at cars closer to retirement, think about driving this car 10, 15 years in the future. Are you going to be able to easily get in and out of that car? And does that car meet your future lifestyle needs? Remaining debt-free. Some people, and I've had a few clients I've had to talk to about the situation, they take retirement as an opportunity to just tear up Amazon.com and start shopping and taking up habits that they may have not have had time for when they were working, but they now find a lot of time for. You cannot become a shopaholic in retirement. You cannot keep Jeff Bezos in business in retirement. You have to find other hobbies and activities in the first year of retirement, or preferably before the first year of retirement, that will sustain your time and also make you feel fulfilled and whole. Shopping is just not one of them. So remaining debt-free, if you are debt-free, entering into retirement is very, very important, and finding activities to occupy your time and put your life in a positive direction in that first year of retirement is absolutely critical. Sources of income. There's been a few surprises in retirement planning, and people have forgotten to tell me about sources of income. We run our lives, we live our daily lives. We go to work, we take care of our families, we take care of our children, and sometimes money becomes kind of the background beat of your life. Sometimes people forget to tell me about sources of income. I had clients who come in and are like, oh yeah, I have 3 rental properties that are putting off income. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me that? And it blended in with their paycheck. They really didn't think too much about it. But now that they're retired and paying a little bit more attention to their money, they're paying attention to their sources of income and will declare it. So typically for 6 months to a year after they retire, a client retires, I ask them to pay attention to all sources of income. And occasionally, probably 1 out of 10 times, there's unexpected sources of income that crops up that they didn't tell me about or they didn't really think about, that just kind of blended into the background beat of their lives while they were working. But now that they are retired is actually an important source of revenue for the household. Don't take Social Security early, even though it may be very, very tempting to do so. I have clients who retire at 62, 63. We've got a plan to get them to full retirement age. They talk to their friends, the wheels start turning. And suddenly they're asking me about applying for Social Security early, or even worse, they just go out and do it. We have a plan. We have a plan, especially if you're working with a financial advisor or wealth manager. There is a plan for you, and moving around parts of those plans without consulting your financial advisor is not wise. It may be tempting to take Social Security early. You'll hear other people doing it. I think 80% of Americans start taking their Social Security at 62. So you'll hear from other people. But if the plan is to start taking Social Security at 67 or 70, please be patient. Or at the bare minimum, at least talk to your financial advisor before you begin taking Social Security. Don't just rush out and do it because your neighbor and your best friend are doing it. They're often doing it wrong, by the way. Take market conditions into consideration. You never want to retire during a recession. You never want to retire during a recession. The people who retired and started taking assets from their retirement account in 2008, 2009, even today, 15 years forward, 20 years forward, are doing markedly worse than people who retired at other points in the market. If you enter into a recessionary period close to retirement or go into recession immediately after retirement, typically I have those conversations with clients to see if we can draw on cash sources and not take money out of their portfolio while the market is down and recovering. But it's a tough conversation to have. It's also pretty tough to retire at the top of the market. And right now in December 2024, we're reaching market highs. I don't know how much gas there is left in the market, and to retire at a market high and then have everything go downhill, it's also not a great position to be in. So definitely when you retire, you're going to start paying attention to market and market conditions, because especially those first few years, the first 5 to 7 years of retirement are absolutely critical. And a recession or a serious down market for several years can completely shift your plans for retirement and shift basically the outcomes of your retirement portfolio. So be careful with that. Don't go overboard in the go-go years. So there's go-go years and there's no-go years. When you retire, you're relatively young, God willing. Maybe from age, when you retire to age 79, you're able to get around, travel, dine out, do other things. Then from age 80 to age 90, you're really not doing too much. You're really not doing as much anymore. And you start to become no-go. You start to stay home. Go-go years, they're a lot of fun. You now have the time, money, energy, and heavens willing, good health to be able to enjoy your retirement. But some people really overdo it in the go-go years. They have trips every other month. They're, dining out every single day. They want to live life to the maximum, and you have to rein them in. Don't overdo it in your go-go years. You want to have some money budget so you can do all the things that you're excited about, but you don't want to completely drain yourself or drain your finances trying to take care of the go-go years. Honest look at your withdrawal rate. This ties back to checking your budget. I do have clients who withdraw a lot during the first few years because life happens. It's really not a good position to put your portfolio in. If you want to withdraw a lot of money and you're 90, fine. If you want to withdraw a lot of money in your first year of retirement, you could be doing your retirement in. And I always explain this very carefully to the client. You're not going to notice the problem now. You're not going to notice the problem next year. You're going to notice the problem when you're 80 and it's too late to fix anything. If you have any other resource that you can rely on to fix on this problem, rely on that resource to fix this problem. Let's not take it out of your IRA or your 401k account. So take an honest look at your withdrawal rate. Are you over withdrawing from your portfolio in the first few years following your retirement? If you are making a critical mistake that will come back to haunt many years in the future. So there you have it. Tell me what you like and tell me what you don't like. If you found this information useful, please like, share, and subscribe.